The Crusades were the series of religious wars between Christians and Muslims during the medieval period. Some different perspectives occurred around these wars. In this video, I'm going to let you understand the different perspectives of the Crusaders. The conflict between Christians and Muslims over 200 years. The goal of Crusaders is to get the Holy Land. The reason of why people require the Holy Land is that region was sacred to Christian, Muslims, and Jews. Because of its religion, its importance, many people were willing to fight and even die for control of the Holy Land. In the world, the Crusades have many of interpretation. Some believe that the Crusaders' reason were God and were trying to reclaim land that was sacred to Christianity. Others counter that the Crusaders were outsiders who entered the Holy Land by force, causing pain for those who already lived there. To understand the Crusade, it's required to think about the historical background. Before the Crusades began, the Holy Land, that including Judaism, was controlled by Muslims. Christians was usually allowed to visit religious sites, but stories of danger and instability spread throughout Europe. These reports led many Christians to fear that access to their holy place might be restricted in the future. As a result, anxiety and anger grew among European Christians. Religion has a central role in medieval European society, and the Catholic Church has a huge responsibility of people. Pope Urban II made a famous speech in 1095, persuade Christians to reclaim the Holy Land. This speech marked the First Crusade. The Pope defined the conflict as a holy mission, which strongly shaped how people understand the purpose of the Crusades. Many Crusaders thought that they were defenders of their God. At the time, religion dived into the daily life of Christians. Even people believed that God gave out every actions that were necessary. Pope Urban promised that those who joined the crusade would get the forgiveness for their sins and be revered in heaven. For people who scared or died, this promise was extremely helpful. As a result, many Crusaders sincerely believed that they were fighting for justice and carrying out God's will. Christians also set a response to the Muslims' expansion. Before the Crusades, Muslim forces had control of large parts of the Byzantine Empire, which was the Christians' place before. Many Christians saw this as a threat to their religion and government from their perspective. The Crusades were a way to pause expansion and protect important religious places. The Crusaders therefore believed that they were defending their identity and not attacking others. The government strengthened this view through laws, letters, and official documents. One example is Quentin's predecessors during the Second Crusade, which benefited the Crusaders and sped up people who joined the Crusades. Because of most people could not read and limited access to information, they depended heavily on the clergy or guardians. As a result, many accept the church's message without questioning it, believing that joining the crusade was both necessary and rightness. Although have these beliefs, the actions of the Crusaders still strongly support the argument that they were invaders. They traveled from Western Europe into lands already lived by Muslim populations and used military force to grab cities. The Crusades were not attacked to Europe directly. Instead, they were a plan by Pope Urban II. The movement of foreign armies into another region to take control of lands fits the definition of invasion. The wars during the Crusades further strengthened this interpretation. When Jerusalem was captured in 1099, large amounts of Muslims and Jewish were killed, not care age or gender. These acts caused big fear and destruction in the whole region. For Muslims lived in the Holy Land, the Crusaders did not appear as defenders in that time, but they were brought instability and suffering. Religion was also not the only reason of joining in the Crusades. Many people joined for personal advantage, such as got a land, wealth, or society status. Others were pressured by family expectations or social rules. In some places, men were needed to join a crusade in order to marry a girl. These factors show that the individuals often higher than the genuine religious devotion. Political leaders also benefited from the Crusades. He encouraging people to fight in other countries to reduce internal conflicts in Europe and strengthen the authority or rulers. From the perspective of those in the Holy Land, the Crusaders likely approached as foreign governments' armies to invade. This further supports the view that the Crusade functions as invaders rather than defensive actions. The memory of the Crusades always depending on perspective. Many Christians saw that they were brave and righteous, and stories of the night were always passed in many years. In contrast, Muslims remember the Crusades as an evil invader for destroyed Muslims' home. These opposing historical events can be understood very differently depending on experiments. In conclusion, although the Crusaders were justified by religious and sincere belief, the evidence shows that the Crusaders' unexpected behavior as invaders. They entered foreign lands, killed people in Jerusalem against the civilian population, and were often had the reason by personal and political benefits. The Crusades caused a long-term damage and separated between religion and cultures. It's a fact that are still felt today. So finally, understanding the Crusade and story behind it from multiple perspectives highlight both of the history and the importance of critical interpretation.